Now for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning, let's bring in a RISE analyst, Dr. Constance Ikwopu. Good morning, Dr. Constance.
Good morning, Yolanda, the lady in red today.
Good to see you, the lady in pink today.
I know. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
And Charles and Yolanda, I said Yolanda and Kechi. So Charles is the guy in blue, and Kechi, is that black or brown?
Brown. Deep brown, but it's black from this range.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good
morning, Dr. Constance.
Good morning. Good to see everyone.
Likewise.
You all look joyful and right.
We're happy. It's the first of the month.
Yes.
You know what that means?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's already July. Okay, The year is almost gone. All right, to look at the papers read us today, we have Doyum Nazenga. He is the Abuja Bureau Chief of the Daily Times and Head Northern Operations. Hello there and welcome to the program. We begin with this day. There we have Peter Obi, hints at possible run in 2027 presidential election. Says he's willing to do one term in office, denies any joint ticket with Atiku, pledges to stabilize country, highlights agenda for national rebirth. Let's pair that headline with another paper, the Daily Times. In the Daily Times, it leads with 2027, I'll be on the ballot, not discussing joint ticket. I guess he's also talking about Atiku. So in this article, he spoke about a couple of other things. For example, rotational presidency between North and South, which he says he believes in. That votes will count in 2027 because he will do things differently. Mr. Peter Obi also criticized the president's St. Lucia trip, excuse me, saying that country is the size of the 10th largest city of Nigeria, Ilorin. That in 2 years, President Tinubu has not spent one night in any state in Nigeria apart from Lagos, yet he's spending 8 nights in St. Lucia. And other things. A lot to unpack in this article, Doyum. Let's have your take on this.
Thank you very much. The position of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, signals that the era of full politicking has actually begun. The fact that he has remained resolute and it signals again or shows the resilient spirit of Nigerian politician. Of a truth, the situation in the country today suggests that Nigerians are not very comfortable with the current state of affairs as heralded by or led under the APC-led federal government under President Tinubu. So Peter Obi's decision to come, yes, because they talk about the alignments, the coalition talks and all of those, also point us to the fact that Nigerians are gradually realizing that the more they come together and an ideological alliance is what would actually give them the kind of voice that will lead to that leadership that would actually provide the kind of leadership that they are looking for. Peter Obi, his outing in the last election was very impressive. The following that he had, the level of followership that he had suggests that he would still make a very huge impact should he choose to run. And his declaration that he's going to run, and he's also interested in the possibility of a joint ticket and the alignment with the coalition talks is revealing. It signals that the opposition is poised to give the ruling All Progressives Congress a good fight in the next general election. 2 years from now is enough for all that could be done, all that should be done, all the talks, all the alignments, and having pointed out the areas of critical needs that Nigerians have complained very seriously about, particularly on the issue of the economy and the poor management of the security situation in the country by the current leadership. Obi coming in and making such a declaration that is also committed to a single tenure of 4 years, so he has something that he believes Nigerians need. On a personal level, sometimes I think, yeah, the rotational presidency, the arguments about rotational presidency should actually be given a front burner. Everybody is very Nigerian, and someone in the stature of a Peter Obi with vast experience and you know, large political following should be given a chance to, let's see how he puts his ideas forward and see how the country runs.
Okay.
We are back again in that era.
Okay, let's move on to the next paper quickly because we're pressed for time. Let's see the Punch newspaper. NEC fallout, worrying PDP blocs reunite for 2027 showdown. Governors Damagu, Saraki, Assad PDP unity, one APC. Southeast rejects Wike allies return. Let's also pull up the Daily Sun, which has the same paper. There the headline says PDP sinks deeper, 5 governors set to defect. Then NEC affirms Anyanwu as National Secretary. Ndibo has no future in party, according to a group. The headline in the Punch emphasizes the showdown ahead of that 2027 election. My sense is that there will be more showdown within the PDP before that time. The entire region of the Southeast, the bendable bloc of the party, has rejected the reinstatement of Anyanwu as a national secretary. So it does not seem that this is over yet. How do you view this meeting from yesterday at Doyum?
Yeah, fine. It's very unfortunate. It's sad. And that the PDP up to now hasn't got its house together, it's really something that would worry any man or anybody at all. If I were to advise, I would simply advise that they should just jump into the coalition talks and see how they can collapse the structures, because there are still elements within the party that, to the best of my knowledge, I have hell-bent on destroying the party, which was once touted to be the largest political party in the whole of West Africa. The extent to which the fortunes of the PDP have plummeted or crashed, it's very worrisome over leadership tussles. Now, but if at the fallout of the NEC, the parties, the warring factions have realized or are beginning to realize that they can't run alone. The earlier they align or come together, resolve their internal issues, the better for them. But we'll still see how it goes. But if I were to advise, I would simply advise the PDP to also align forces with the coalition talks and see how, because as it is, Nigerians are up against a particular government that many feel it's not really the kind of government that they would have wished for themselves, given how difficult things have become and, you know, and all of those. So aligning forces with the other elements or the other political parties or the other individuals with opposition position against the APC is what the PDP should be talking about, if they are really ready to go into elections in the next election cycle.
Okay, Daily Trust this morning, Tuji's ally Dambokolo, 6 bandit commanders, 182 others killed in Zamfara state. Kachala Yellow, Dambakolo, a notorious bandit and close ally of Kachala Turji, was eliminated during a gun battle with operations of the Zamfara Community Protection Guards, they call them the CPG. Dambokolo was one of the most feared bandits in the area. The gunfight lasted 2 hours, according to this report, and resulted in the deaths of 182 bandit foot soldiers. Information is that Turji is now confused and reportedly planning to flee to Niger Republic and possibly Chad. Charles, incredible what's going on in this country. 2 hours of fighting and over 180 people. You know, it looks like, I mean, this indicates a big operation, you know, that they are fighting against the military. It's really mind-boggling. It's not a joke at all.
You know, I think this should even serve as a blueprint for future security operations in Nigeria. What the conventional military forces could not achieve, the local volunteer force did. And why did they succeed where the military had problems? Because they know the terrain, they know the people they are dealing with because they've interacted over the years. Probably because they were not as well armed as Turji and his cohorts is the reason why that problem has persisted. Right now, the problem in Zamfara state is seeing a solution, a homegrown solution, so to say. So I think in every other part of the north or every other part of the country where we have situations like this, then I think that solution, that blueprint should also be applied. Having said that, I guess this rather hit Turji below the belt. It's not what he was expecting at all. He has terrorized Zamfara state and beyond for so long, I think the man has started feeling invincible. Now that myth of invincibility has been shattered. 182 of the ground forces of his ally killed. I'm very sure that will definitely leave him confused because he is not invincible after all.
A lot of people, hopefully they're not innocent people caught in that crossfire.
Well, naturally,
182.
Naturally, you will have what you call collateral damage. But, well, the reports say it was the foot soldiers of Yellow Dambokolo who were killed.
Okay, the Guardian newspaper calls to strip president of power to appoint INEC officials intensify. Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Yusuf Dantale, said allowing a man running for an election to appoint a person who decides the fate of that same election is an aberration. Ngechi, this is not a new debate. Suggestions have been made that the power to appoint the Independent National Electoral Commission chairman and his team should be removed from the president. However, there seems to be a lot of talk and little action in this regard. We currently have constitution review, so if it's not done now, forget about 2027.
Yeah, definitely. I think these reforms that we're even talking about, it's not even a favor to the electorate. These are literally the bare minimum of what any democratic society really needs. And I'm glad that this conversation is coming back up again on the road to 2027, because what we're seeing today in Nigeria is a groundswell of civic pushback that many Nigerians see as sort of a sabotage to their vote when you have conversations on electoral credibility. And I think if you ask me, it's long overdue that we have this conversation, and time has come to remove, I would say, the executive sort of fingerprint on the appointment of the very people who referee our elections. It's a conversation that has been ongoing, and like you said, if we don't do it now, if we don't carry out all these constitutional reviews that we're talking about, electoral reforms, it's just going to be too late.
It seems the powers of the president in Nigeria are completely absolute. So the question I'm even asking is that even if the president is stripped of the powers to appoint the INEC national chairman, then who would then do the appointment? Because whoever would be making the appointment is probably going to be answerable to the president, and then he might just be pulling the strings in the public.
There's a suggestion it should be like an independent body. And then also don't forget that there's also the conversation about funding of INEC. Anyway, let's see the New Telegraph. Most residents of St. Lucia are from Nigeria. Lucia, now Senate President. We know the president is on official trip to St. Lucia, and apparently there are ancestral links and no surprises here due to the transatlantic slave trade. According to the British census conducted there in 1815, of the 16,282 enslaved people, 3,488 were from Nigeria, 11% from Nigeria, Cameroon, 22% from the Congo. The remaining were born in St. Lucia with forefathers from Senegambia and Nigeria. Yolanda, the real news here is reviving or rekindling those connections, but also it should go beyond St. Lucia. There's the whole Caribbean. I know that we have the African Caribbean Summit and a couple of similar activities to deepen collaboration and cooperation between the continents.
That's true. There's many countries that, you know, have Nigerian people who have of Nigerian descent that have settled in those countries. And it's very interesting that this issue has come up while the president is having his visit there. But I think what also this likes to highlight for me is the cultural exchange, that the possibility for migration as well, you know, the ability for policy implications between Nigeria and St. Lucia. And, you know, lately, a lot of people have been talking about why the president has decided to go to St. Lucia and have been hammering down, Peter Obi included. You know, many others have been talking about it. So hopefully this, bringing this to light about the ancestry of Nigerians can bring about positive policy implications that can be brought back when the president returns. Hopefully we'll hear more about that trip.
Definitely. Vanguard newspaper, a couple of headlines here. PDP factions close ranks. Afam Anyanwa's national secretary, we've seen that. Kidnappings, youth set Emir's palace and the LEA office ablaze in Kwara State. Then moving on to Daily Independent, mobile phones now going out of reach of Nigerians. That's an interesting one. Finally, PDP NEC returns Anyanwu, we've seen that. Also, 2027, I'm not part of joint ticket. Again, that's from Peter Obi. Then Reps query 24 billion Naira CCTV allocation for Rivers Government House. And then moving on to the international headlines, we have Daily Graphic. Implement EVAT, IMF recommends. This is supposed to be part of measures to improve the value-added tax regime in Ghana. The IMF technical teams have been holding discussions with Ghanaian authorities on the economy in general. The Citizen newspaper, GNU won't collapse. Money talks and big business rules as it funded the government of national unity. So if a party opts to leave the GNU, it will be a political suicide, experts say. That's still a conflict in South Africa. South African GNU on shaky grounds at the moment between the DA and African National Congress trying to find their feet in that government of national unity. Onto I newspaper. Investigation into Bob Dylan and kneecap over Glastonbury set. English punk band has US visas revoked over anti-Israel chants. Yeah, we spoke about this yesterday. The repercussions are swift, as is always when it comes to Israel. But pertaining to matters of the Palestinians, it seems like Israel is slower. Any comments from anyone here on this Glastonbury festival?
I think this is very interesting because of the backdrop of what's happening in British politics now. You have Keir Starmer, who's trying to project firmness on anti-Semitism, right? This is sort of a key pledge of offer after Labour's, what we saw in the past with Labour. But I think he's also under pressure from this youth culture that sees Palestine as a cause and feels that they're being stifled. And so when excuse me, when you have this type of, would I say, blunder happening in Glastonbury, they have to act swiftly. We know the BBC has also come out to apologize, to say, look, we should have pulled the plug on that live coverage when we had, I think they called it appalling hate speech as well. And so the condemnation is coming in really fast, really swift, just to project that firmness on anti-Semitism.
And Yolanda, I mean, the U.S. has revoked their visas.
Yes. I think the story just caught on fire in a way that maybe not many expected, because it has really surprised me that there's such swift movement, just like what Nkechi has said. I mean, revoking of visas, you know, and then we come into the question of what are the parameters when it comes to freedom of speech and censorship. Those are two very big, different topics, but are very closely related. So let's see how it unfolds in days to come.
I think just quickly, I think the issue is artistic freedom does not generally grant you a license to incite violence. So that's what they're saying, that this was inciting. It wasn't just speaking up for a particular group of people.
That this is definitely going to be very costly for Bob Dylan. I mean, I've seen the concerts cancelled in the US as a result of the withdrawal of the visa.
On the flip side, some people will hope that, you know, when it comes to the Palestinians, you know, actions are also swift. you know, in regard to what Israel is doing in the Palestinian territory. Okay, let's see the Times newspaper. NHS will prioritize UK doctors and nurses. 10-year plan to curb recruitment from overseas. The plan will commit to bring no more than 1 in 10 NHS recruits from overseas in order to reform a system in which 2/3 of new doctors come from abroad. There have been ongoing reforms, not only in the UK, but all over Europe. Doyum, if you want to come in here, doctors and nurses that are fleeing from, you know, beware, the immigration reforms are happening, but, you know, yeah. Doyum, do you have any comment on this? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, Charles, you know, please go ahead. Anyone can jump in here.
Well, come to think of it, it's still the Japa syndrome. And of course, the countries of reception, well, I guess they have for a long time taken advantage of the situation where our best medical brains are migrating to better climes. So most probably it will be to our benefit if we're able to retain some of them here. But of course it will also be costly for them, because I think their own medical services are strained, and they, in instituting those laws, will also be at a loss. So, well, one man's loss, another man's gain.
I like how Charles brought it back to home. Yeah. But I think it's worth recalling that 1 in every 4 NHS doctors comes from overseas. So they can talk all day about prioritizing local graduates, but I think they cannot magic away those 8 million patients that are waiting for treatments, like Charles just said. True. So you need doctors wherever they come from. So they need to sort of balance that policy.
But that's why they have a 10-year plan. Yes, they are planning. You know, this, what they call an invasion of their country, has to change. So that's why planning
good luck
is
to the
there.
United Kingdom.
Yeah, good luck to them. And like you said, maybe this keeps our doctors and nurses home. Well, if we do the work over here in order to encourage our people to stay and contribute to the economy. We'll have to leave it there. Doyum Nazinga, who is the Abuja Bureau Chief of the Daily Times and Head Northern Operations, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
It's also a pleasure. The lady in pink, Dr. Constance Ikoku, thank you so much for joining us here on Daybreak. That's all the time we have. I am Nkechi Nana.
I'm Charles Eruka. Goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Goodbye.